Do you think more money equals more happiness, more well-being, or more life satisfaction? If yes, I would urge you to think again. I didn't choose to make this video. I feel like I've been forced. Every time I open Facebook or I look for something on Google, I'm harassed by advertising that promises me how to become rich, or how to make six figures, how to generate wealth without even working. My position is screw that. I think we need less people speaking about how to become rich, and what we really need is more people speaking about how to become a good person, how to live with integrity, how to help others. I feel we don't have enough people speaking about these topics. But the bottom line with all these ads is, hey, if you want to live a good life, you have to become rich. Well, to me, this is not only ridiculous, but I smell a bit of a scam. The only people becoming rich are the advertisers, not ourselves, after purchasing those training courses. When we go take a look at the scientific literature, do we find any evidence to support the claims that making more money equals being more satisfied with our lives or being happier? Well, the short answer is no. A higher income won't make you happier. But what a higher income will do is make you feel as if your life is better. And this is an important distinction. If you feel something to be true, it doesn't mean it's true. This is due to a famous cognitive bias. We can call it a thinking distortion or emotional reasoning. So in other words, you might feel money is making you happier or more satisfied with your life, but it doesn't mean this is true. Governments around the world for many decades have tried to correlate GDP with well-being or wealth with happiness. And what they found year after year is that these type of correlations fall short. One of the biggest problems with using large-scale questionnaires or censuses is that we can't really trust self-reported data. Well, firstly, people in general are very bad at introspection. They're very bad at understanding the reasons and the motivations behind why they do what they do. This is due to many factors, but some of them are just simply the fact that our brain is riddled with cognitive biases, mental shortcuts that can distort the data people collect in questionnaires. One example of distortion is social desirability. So people tend to answer questionnaires with what is socially accepted or politically correct, rather than saying the truth or saying what they really think. Then there is the fact that censuses or large-scale questionnaires have a hard time at accounting for hidden variables. The best way to account for hidden variables is to carefully plan a research project, preferably in a lab or in a control setting. Let me give you an example of how a study can go wrong by not accounting for hidden variables. This study is entitled "The Effect of Sexual Activity on Wages." I will be linking it in the description of this video. So this study found that people who have sex more than 4 times per week earn more money compared to their unlucky counterparts which don't have sex 4 times per week. To me, it doesn't make much sense that having sex makes people richer. Probably is vice versa, but still, I think the study is completely missing a lot of hidden variables. Because the fact that people who earn more money have probably higher education, take better care of themselves, probably do more sports, eat better, etc., is all these hidden variables for me that explain that correlation. It's not the sex that is making people richer. It's the fact that these people are just a good catch. Therefore, they're having more sex. So going back to the correlation in between money and subjective well-being or happiness, to me what explains the correlation is not money itself. Money is not making people happier or more satisfied. What is really making people more happier and more satisfied with their lives is how they spend that money. So if I'm saving money each month for my retirement, and with the money I'm earning, I'm going out to good restaurants with friends, going on vacations, spending money on hobbies. All these things are making me happier and satisfied, not the money itself. Many countries have realized this. They realize that GDP or well-being is not a good index for their citizens' happiness or well-being. And so a lot of governments are looking for different types of measures nowadays. So for example, countries like Bhutan have instituted a different type of index. They started to measure the GNH, the gross national happiness. It would be stupid of me if I told you that money can't buy happiness or won't make you satisfied with your life. It can, but it really depends on how you spend it. And it also seems that we have an upper ceiling. So once you reach this upper ceiling, the more money you make, it won't make you happier and it won't make you more satisfied. Actually, what I would argue is that we could have an opposite effect. You will feel less happy and less satisfied, even if you don't realize. Different studies will report different upper ceilings. But for example, if I take one of the biggest, that has been run by Daniel Kahneman, Nobel laureate in economics, well, his studies found that the upper ceiling in the US is $75,000. Above $75,000, all the extra money you make, it won't make you any happier. Another thing we should be accounting for is that the upper ceiling changes in between countries. Different countries have a different cost of life, so a different upper ceiling. So in Latin America, you would only need $35,000 to reach that upper ceiling of subjective well-being and life satisfaction. In Australia and New Zealand, that upper ceiling gets bumped up to $135,000. Another thing we should factor is how much effort you need to put in, for example, to earn 6 figures. And is all that effort justified? Let me give you an example. I had a roommate that was a lawyer. She was very young, straight out of university. She was nearly earning 6 figures, but she was working weekends. She was working nights. She wasn't able to cook because she didn't have time. She got barely enough sleep. She wasn't able to see friends or have time for herself as she wanted. So my question is it really worth it? She was telling me that her colleagues in her law firm, you could really see on the pictures on the walls, like if you would work in that law firm, only for 4 years, like from the pictures, it would seem that you aged 10. Lack of sleep, poor diet, a lot of stress, these people aged super quickly. So if that is the cost to earn 6 figures, I'm out. I don't want that. If you find yourself chasing money, a bit like a hamster in a hamster wheel, I would really encourage you to stop. You know, if you fixed for yourself objectives as I want to earn $5,000 more per month, or I really want to earn 6 figures per year, I would really encourage you to reevaluate your objectives. I think that in general, as a population, we should change our relationship to money. We should stop considering money as an objective. I think what's better is to consider monies a way to reach an objective. So for example, if I want to go this summer in Greece for holidays, I would need, let's say, 2,000 euros to get there. The objective is not the 2,000 euros. To me, the objective is going to Greece. But money is not the only way we have to reach an objective. We have multiple ways to reach an objective. For example, we can spend our time, we can spend our effort, we can spend our knowledge to reach the same objective. So for example, I had a friend in university that traveled the world and he documented it. He did through his blog, he made a documentary about it without spending money. He spent 0 money to travel the whole world. So it is possible. My biggest problem with those ads I was mentioning before, I keep finding on Facebook, is that I really find them unethical, because the people who created those ads know what they're doing. They're pushing the right buttons. They're making you feel pain, and then they're selling you a painkiller for a pain they have created themselves. The biggest problem here is that our brain has evolved in a way to develop reward pathways and a drive system that pushes us to constantly feel unsatisfied. So no matter what you have, there is the big risk that you will still feel unsatisfied. And these ads know it too well. These ads make you feel bad about yourself, make you feel like a failure. And then they propose as a solution, become rich and only then you can live a good life. I would argue that the solution instead is that we have to work hard to develop gratitude, to develop contentment for what we have. Because the huge risk here is that we are a hamster trapped on a hamster wheel, chasing a dream that simply will never happen. If you find yourself thinking constantly about money or how to make more money, I would really encourage you to ask yourself, why? So for example, if you say, oh well, I need more money because I need to buy a bigger house, I'm living in a super small apartment, I don't even have a garden, I would love to have a garden. Okay, fine. Well, ask yourself, how can I live without a garden? Could I maybe go more to the park? Could I maybe buy a bunch of plants and fill my apartment with plants now? Or if your apartment is so small, maybe you can install vertical gardens. I mean, there's a lot of ways in which we can live life in a more minimalistic way, in a more frugal way. Another problem I find with money is that if you value yourself very little, if your self-esteem is low, if you think that you're worth not that much, and you try to increase your self-worth through money, through external means of self-validation, well, you will fail. You can have all the money in the world, and still you will be thinking that I'm not worth that much. So if you value yourself very little, if you have low self-esteem, there's a ton of ways you can go about fixing this that doesn't involve making money or accumulating objects or wealth. So for example, you could choose to live with more integrity, to live your life in accordance with your values. Or for example, if you're very hard towards yourself, if you listen to the voice in your head, and that voice is very critical, harsh, or insulting, well, that doesn't help your self-esteem. Being kinder to yourself, that will greatly improve it. Or for example, expressing your needs and being aware of your needs. All these things will help your self-esteem. There's another million ways to go about it, but money, that will not improve your self-esteem. So to conclude this video, I think that as a society at large, we should change our relationship with money. So, once you reach a certain threshold, there's no reason to earn more. If you have enough money to travel, to pursue your hobbies and passions, to go out, dinner with your friends, and all these types of things, saving money for retirement, that's good. You don't need any more. More money will probably make you unhappier. Lastly, if there is one thing we should avoid, is to put ourselves in a situation of debt, or to put ourselves in a situation in which we don't have enough money to pay our bills. Because once you enter this situation, automatically in our brain, something gets triggered. It's something like a scarcity mindset or a hoarding mentality. In a situation like this, our cognitive horsepower is greatly reduced. Our brain is just filled with worries about not being able to make it by the end of the month, so we're not able to perform properly. We're not able to take the best decisions. So for example, you might receive a small amount of money, you spend it all on food or things you need for the house, only to realize you don't have enough money for gas now, or you don't have enough money to pay those bills anymore. You don't want to find yourself in this type of situation. If you want to learn more, I wrote an essay in which I go in much more in detail about the research behind why I think, making more money doesn't really mean that we're happier or that we're more satisfied with our lives. And also, I'm really curious about what you guys think. What is your experience with money? Because, like me, I tried to pursue these types of objectives, and I noticed it didn't make me happier. It made me much more miserable. So let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Is money good? Is money bad in your opinion? What is that threshold? What is that upper ceiling for you? Thanks for watching.